The Jerk, 1979. The Jerk. Now, this is one of my favorite films, and I can't even tell you how many times I've seen this movie and watched it. And I know what you're thinking. You're saying, Josephus, really? Really? Steve Martin? I mean, come on, sure, he's terrific. But, a little bit kind of silly, a little juvenile. And if you know my sense of humor, seen my videos, my art, etc., pretty sophisticated, you might say, kind of, very high-minded, next level, if you will. And so really, Steve Martin, the jerk? Well, let me explain here. It's simple. It's the comedy jokes. So let's get into it. Oh, lots of little things to talk about, lots of good stuff. So we meet Navin Johnson, and it's filmed in this kind of documentary style. And Navin is going to tell us a story. His story. Now, he makes it very clear he's not a bum. And when I first saw this, I was like, no, he's a total dirtbag. Oh, total scumbag. But he says no. He insists. He's not a bum. In fact, he is a jerk. He goes on to explain that at one time he had wealth, power, and the love of a beautiful woman. Now it seems all that Navin has is his thermos. So the jerk is kind of a, basically that kind of Horatio Alger kind of story, right? Where, maybe some sort of starting at the bottom and, kind of rising your way up to success. Right, classic story. If you're not familiar, look up. He was a writer back in the 19th century, right? So these classic stories about starting at the bottom, being very moral and basically having success. But Navin Johnson's story has a little bit of a twist. He was born a poor black child in Mississippi. Before we get any further, I have to talk about a little bit about this record, Let's Get Small. Now, this is a 1977 stand-up record, and there is a joke. So this is a Steve Martin stand-up joke talking about the beginning of his career. He started at the bottom. He says he was born a poor black child. And, very surreal, like very surreal humor with Steve Martin. I think that's what I like about it. And he goes on to say how basically he heard his first Manavani record, and this is when he decided to become white. And the follow-up joke is he got his cock shortened. Terrific. And so now we're starting to understand that Steve Martin, yes, it's kind of silly humor for sure, but it's surreal and it's perfect. Okay, and back to the jerk. Okay, so here is the home down in Mississippi. Navin is hanging on the porch, right, with his family, and they're singing the blues, and they are singing Pick a Bale of Cotton by the one and only Leadbelly. I loves me the blues. But as we can see, Navin, he just doesn't quite, his timing's a little bit off. You're just going, ooh, maybe he's working with a little bit of a handicap there. Doesn't quite have the soul. He's got that, that peckerwood, that cracker DNA. Kind of, just can't quite, snap, clap in time. So the Johnson family's all sitting around the table, but it is a special occasion. There's Mom, and it is Navin's birthday, and she's got a special treat. Navin's favorite, couple of Twinkies, tuna fish sandwich with mayonnaise on white bread, and a tab. And you can see that Navin is just absolutely touched, speechless, basically. And his dad gives him his Zippo, his lighter. Oh, a great look from the dad. And now we got to talk about this guy, Richard Ward. And, it's terrific. And I just have to mention, though, this guy appears in like two or three of my favorite things. He was in Mandingo, right? Agamemnon, and obviously, the dad in The Jerk also played Dewey in Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. Oh, terrific. Look at that resume. Impressive. Okay, and again, Navin is absolutely, speechless, and he gets quite upset. He rushes to his room and jumps on the bed, kind of in tears, and his mom is gone to kind of comfort him, find out, what's wrong. So Naven does feel, kind of different, right, from the rest of his family. And this is where his mother tells him that, in fact, he was basically left on their doorstep. But, they raised Naven like he was one of their own, and Naven is kind of shocked. He says, like, I'm going to stay this color. And again, more crying, right? But, the big embrace and the hug. And Naven still can't quite get the rhythm. So a little bit later on that night, Naven starts enjoying his Twinkie, and he's listening to the radio, and it's kind of, this kind of like schmaltzy kind of, I don't know if you call it Lawrence Welk kind of music or whatever, and he notices his feet are tapping, and he's actually got the rhythm, and he is so excited that like, oh, for the first time in his life, that, he kind of gets it. And so he makes a big deal. He wakes up the whole house and he's like, check this out, check this out. And the family's just like, what? And so again, basically, Naven has just discovered that, there's music like this out there. And, suddenly it's his calling. And right away, the dad knows. He says, let him go, let him go. He knew this day would come, that it's time for Naven to leave the nest. So the dad's got some advice for Naven. He explains to him the difference between shit and shinola as Naven steps in the shit. And there he is. He's ready to go. And I just wanted to point out, okay, again, we've got this kind of, aviator little helmet, whatever you want to call it, hat. And the goggles, right? This Rocky the Flying Squirrel. What's going on with this? This was this was Dutch, right? Dutch. From Omega Man. A lot of weird similarities in some of these films I'm choosing to discuss. So basically a lot of goodbyes there, and basically he is going off to St. Louis, where the radio station where you first heard the broadcast, to, basically seek his fortune. So he's given a bit of advice from the family before he leaves. They say, the Lord loves a working man. Don't trust Whitey, and if you catch it, see a doctor and get rid of it. So a bit of a slow start for Naven with his hitchhiking, but eventually he starts getting rides. And he decides to spend the night at the hotel. And this is where he meets his loyal, faithful dog, Shithead. Now, there is an amusing story as to how he got that name, Shithead. Now, exciting times for Naven and his dog on the road. Now, eventually, Naven and Shithead make it to St. Louis, and I don't know if you can see right there with the hitchhiking ride there, Shithead is in the front seat and Naven is in the back. But Naven has to go to the bathroom, so he says, this is far enough. And they get out at a gas station. And this is where we meet Jackie Mason. Oh, so good. So Jewish. So Harry Hartoonen, Jackie Mason's character, the owner of the gas station, offers Naven a job. $1.10 an hour. And Naven is totally excited. He's like, he can't believe it. And he loves working. He's right into it. And he's basically sending letters back home, including some money. And the dad is like, that's a good son. $2. Now, Mr. Hartoonen, he is a sweetheart, and he notices that Naven has been sleeping basically underneath the cars. So he says to Naven, follow me, I got a place where you can sleep. And so he takes him through the male bathroom, and Naven originally thinks it is the bathroom. He goes, oh, I don't think I can afford this. But in fact, it is the storage through the male bathroom. He says, here, this is the spot. And Naven's ecstatic. He says, this place is great. I don't have to change a thing. And he goes, how much is this going to cost him? And Mr. Hartoonen says, nothing. When you're rich and famous, send me a postcard. Ooh, so we got some sexy looking legs there. Holy smokes, what do we have here? This is Harry Hartoonen's wife. And ooh, she is a hot little number. Whoa, bosomy. And this is the first Sunday that basically Harry is taking off. So Naven will be all alone. So he says, be careful. And it doesn't take long before some punks show up real troublemakers, gang banger types. You know what? And Naven, ooh, being a little bit of the jerk that he is, he pulls out the big wad of cash and he explains that he's the only one there. The banks are closed. He can't be dealing with cash. He needs a credit card. So Naven quickly finds out that the credit card he is given is, in fact, stolen. So these guys are thieves. But Naven's got a plan. Quick thinking. He's got the hook with the big rope. He gets underneath the gangster's car. He attaches the hook, and with the other end across the street there is a little church, and he hooks it on to a water pipe. So the ballers steal all Naven's cash and some tires, and are making their getaway. The tires are squealing, and basically the part of the church rips away from the building. And as you can see, there is a wedding taking place, and everyone is frantic, especially the bride. And Naven looks out the window and he can see the other half of the church being dragged away. There are the grooms. And so Naven is on the phone with the police explaining that it's a blue two-door Chevy driving down the street, pulling a small church. Didn't quite get the license plate. And when Mr. Hartoonen comes back, he goes, it's not the end of the world there, Naven. He says, well, look on the bright side. Great line. At least we lost a church. So the new phone books arrive, and Naven is ecstatic. He is jumping up and down. He quickly leaps through the phone book, and he sees his name, and he's like, oh my God, oh my God. And he has a great line here. He says, things are going to start happening to me now. And somewhere at the same time, a man with a rifle opens up the phone book randomly and points to a page, and there you can see Naven R. Johnson. And he says, sounds like a typical bastard. And I like the little address there, if you can see it, 253 and 1/8 Elm Street. Terrific. So here is the madman, right? The kind of going postal person who just wants to kill somebody, and he picks Naven Johnson. And let's just talk about this guy. This is actor E. Emmett Walsh. And just like Naven's dad, he has also appeared in 3 of my favorite things. So obviously he plays the madman in The Jerk, which I think is actually probably the funniest scene in the whole movie, to be honest. He was also Sergeant Malloy in Mary Hartman. I think he only appeared in 1 episode. Good enough. And he played the cop, the sergeant or whatever in Blade Runner. Terrific movie, of course. And I have to play this scene because I just love it. I just love this line. And Blade Runner is amazing.
Stop right where you are. You know the score, pal? You're not cops, you're little people.
Fantastic. So he drives over to the gas station. He sits in his car, and he's got his, semi-automatic rifle there, and he's looking through the scope, and he's checking out Naven. Okay, so I just want to roll one little clip, because I have to say this is probably the funniest part of the movie, and the dialogue is fantastic. He is the best part. On second thought, how about a couple clips?
Die, Naven R. Johnson. Bastard. Random son of a bitch, typical run-of-the-mill bastard.
Now, it is at this moment that Naven meets Stan Fox, who will change his life forever.
Gotcha, you average, typical flocking into the fuel of a goddamn average victim bastard.
So Stan is having a little trouble with his glasses, keeps falling off his face, and Naven says, I can fix those for you. And Stan is really frustrated at this point. He says, sure, go for it, go ahead. And he throws the glasses in the air, and this is where we hear, Thus Spoke Zarathustra. Of course, don't get me started about Nietzsche, right? But I think people remember this as the 2001 Space Odyssey theme. Let's take a listen.
Son of a fucking bastard.
So some quick soldering, which is not the easiest thing in the world to do, and basically Naven's got this little contraption there that kind of like sits on the bridge of your nose, and there, seems to work. And Stan is quite impressed. He says, "You know what, Naven? I make a lot of money selling crap like this." He says, "If I can get this to market and patent it, and I'll split the profits, 50-50."
Shit!
So after Stan drives off, Naven notices that the cans of motor oil are leaking. And meanwhile, we've got the madman. He is up on the hill, just firing crazy. Of course, he's missing. Not a good shot. And he's hitting all the cans of motor oil. Naven calls out to Mr. Hartoonen. He says, these cans of motor oil are defective. But right away, Harry Hartoonen, he sees the crazy person in the hills firing the gun, and he says, "No, he's firing at you." And of course, Naven, being the jerk that he is, he still thinks it's the cans that this guy is after. So he runs away, and then he sees, oh, there's more cans, as like more gunfire at the kind of pop machine there. And then he runs inside, and there's more cans, he says. Oh, pretty classic. And all the while, he's just screaming, "You bastard, you bastard," as he's firing his machine gun. Finally, Naven gets it, and he hops in a car with no wheels, and he makes a slow escape. And he turns into this, basically, it looks like some kind of park where basically there was trailers for a carnival that was in town. So the car does die on him, and he just starts running to hide inside the carnival park there. Right on his heels is the madman, and he sees the signs, "Carnival personnel only." He's like, "Damn!" He gets out of his car and he's screaming, "Hey, wait a minute! Where are you going? You're not carnival personnel!" He's screaming, "Hey, everybody! He's not carnival personnel!" Oh, so good. And, like I said, loyal shithead. He joins, he comes in for the fun. And so, basically, Naven makes his escape as the carnival rolls out of town. He considers going back to work for Mr. Hartoonen, but Mr. Hartoonen says, "You know what? Get out there, see the world. Me you've seen. Make your fortune." So, he decides he's going to stick with the carnival and basically becomes a weight guesser. So pretty soon, Naven meets Patty. She is the carnival daredevil, and of course, more motorcycles. So Patty asks Naven if she can guess his weight, and this is where Naven discovers his special purpose. Naven writes a letter back home to the Johnson family explaining all about his new friend Patty, and they're all like, "Oh, she seems nice." So as the carnival life rolls along, Naven and Patty have an affair, and I would consider it pretty hot and heavy. So along with guessing your weight, Naven also drives the train there, the little train for the little kiddies. But then one day, this smart aleck with the pretty good shirt, I'll give him that, steals the train. But Naven saves the day, and this is where he meets Marie. She is babysitting little Billy. And Naven is crazy about her instantly. And Marie likes Naven too, so they arrange a date. Unfortunately for Naven, Patty is the jealous type.
That's what's gonna happen to you if I ever catch you looking at another broad.
Glad you told me.
So Naven takes Marie back to his place, which is just the back of a trailer, and they start talking about pizza in a cup and how this is the best pizza in the cup. This guy actually ran the old cup of pizza out of town, and people come from all around to try this pizza. And you can tell, Naven and Marie, they're hitting it off, and I think they're falling in love with each other. But Patty shows up and she spoils all the fun. Patty punches Naven, but Marie, she doesn't take any shit and she just levels Patty, knocks her flat on her ass. So Marie is a badass. And that's good, because I didn't like that Patty. She had that SJW stupid hairstyle. Oh, she was gross. They're all gross, all those commie bastards. Evil, evil people. So this next scene is actually pretty famous. We've got Steve Martin and Bernadette Peters basically singing a duet of the song "Tonight You Belong to Me." Steve Martin is playing the ukulele, and I was thinking, you know what? I'll play the ukulele and I'll do this simple song to play. But then I realized I don't have a ukulele. I did at one time, and I guess I just threw it in the garbage or something. It was cheap anyway, but still kind of cool. But yeah, it's pretty charming, I gotta admit. And you guessed it, they do it. So, Naven and Marie have been going out for a couple weeks now, and Naven is considering proposing. Oh, and here's just a great shot of Naven in the bathtub. But little does Naven know that Marie has decided to leave him. Oh no. So she writes Naven a note, and she slips it under the bathroom door. And so Naven mentions he wrote a song for Marie, and I still sing this song to this day.
Oh, I'm picking out a thermos for you. Not an ordinary thermos for you.
So as Marie leaves, this is where Naven asks her to marry him. Shithead barks. Naven begins to celebrate, and Shithead jumps in the bathtub with him. And basically, this is where Naven discovers the note. And even Naven trying to read the note is pretty great.
Serve forward to tell Rona to be Rona.
So Naven doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know why Marie has left him. He just runs out of the bathroom, picks up Shithead, and I guess the neighbor's dog as well, you know, completely buck naked. He's like, Marie, why did you leave me? Why? So Naven thinks, okay, you know, I gotta straighten up. You know, I gotta do something, you know, with my life. I gotta be successful, kind of win her back. And this is where he's thinking, okay, you know, I've gotta kind of, well, not, I would say break up with Shithead, but, you know, he says, I gotta go down that road and there might not be enough money, you know, to feed both of us. And Shithead runs away, and basically Naven just says, okay, you can come with me. And as you can see, Shithead is, you know, not so into sticking around. But Naven keeps sending money back home to the family. This time only 49 cents, and the dad is happy for any amount of money that he can send. And so it turns out Naven has now moved to Los Angeles. And again, he's going to try to basically be successful and try to win back Marie. But Naven looks out the window one day, and he sees someone with binoculars staring at him, and then he realizes, I know who that is. The Madmanoid is back. So that crazy assassin guy slowly approaches Naven's apartment, and Naven is freaking out. He grabs some popcorn, throws it in his face, and runs. But Crazy Man is after him. So Naven hops a fence, but uh-oh, it is a dead end. And finally the madman catches up with Naven. So Naven thinks this is the end. But the crazy guy says, you're going to have to sign for this. And he pulls out a piece of paper. And Naven says, I have to sign something before you kill me? But he says that was the old me. I was a little mixed up back then. Had a bad marriage. And I had just quit smoking. But I'm a private investigator now. So Naven reads the letter. It says, please, Mr. Johnson, call on me at Century Plaza. He gives the address. I have something urgent to tell you. So Naven shows up at the building, and it turns out to be Stan Fox. But Naven doesn't recognize him. So Stan has to explain that, remember the glasses? And then Naven smiles. He says, yes, we call it the Opti Grab, and they're selling like hotcakes. So he's got a check for Naven. He said, like we said, 50-50. Business partners. So Naven heads down to the bank, and oh, it would have been great if this bank clerk was in Mary Hartman. Mary Hartman, that would have been just perfect. But he wasn't. But you know, look at that attitude from this guy. New accounts, come on. And so Naven basically hasn't opened the envelope, so he thinks it's only for $250. He goes, I got a check here for 250 big ones, 250 donuts. And as soon as the clerk sees the check, he's like, sit down, please. And of course, Naven, then he finally realizes that it's for $250,000. And we get a little bit of the old exorcist action going on here. And true to his word, Naven sends Harry Hartunen a postcard. And look at this cool ass car he's got. Oh, I like those colors. I am sorry. That is loud and proud. Oh, I'm digging those muscle cars. I don't care about cars, but oh, that's amazing. That's great. And there he is, Naven, looking good, looking like a total sophisticated culo. And Naven has got himself a cool painting there. Oh, and look at Shithead. He has got the jerk style going on. Now, Naven basically gets a phone call, and it is from Marie's mom. And he's like, oh my God. And she actually wants like a little bit of money for the information about Marie. So he says he'll give her $75. So he's basically tracked down Marie. And one more shot of Shithead. Oh, he was a terrific dog, I gotta admit. So Naven shows up at Marie's work, and he surprises her, and they kiss, and they're back together, and it's terrific, and they get married. But the strange thing is, even though Naven is quite wealthy, he's still living in his crummy little apartment, as he writes a letter home to his parents explaining how he had got married, found Marie. His only extravagance was a live-in maid and butler. And another check comes, the butler opens it up, and he's just like, just as I suspected, another check for $750,000. And so it is the butler who actually convinces Naven, you have enough money here, you can get a proper house with proper servants' quarters. So I just want to roll the clip, because I just can't describe it. This is just amazing, this scene.
Remember my dream of owning a big house on a hill? How I used to wish for a living room with a plaster lion in it from Mexico? And how I always wanted a large 24-seat dining table in a dining room with original oil paintings by Michelangelo and Rembrandt? And remember how I always wanted a rotating bed with pink chiffon and zebra stripes? And remember how I used to chit-chat with Dad about always wanting a bathtub shaped like a clam? And an office with orange and white stripes? And remember how much I wanted an all-red billiard room with a giant stuffed camel? And how I wanted a disco room with my own disco dancers and a party room with fancy friends? And remember how much I wanted a big backyard with Grecian statues, S-shaped hedges, and 3 swimming pools? Well, I got that too.
I just want to mention, I believe this was used in The Godfather, and I believe this actually at one time belonged to William Randolph Hearst. Now that's a weirdo. Definitely check out that guy. Ooh, mega bucks crook. So Naven is Richie Richardson, and he starts acting like a super jerk, but I love it because this is the best. Very jerky rich Naven is the best. So he's got the little umbrella. Be somebody, classic. And so we got now the kind of the gags. We've got basically the maid who pays the heavy penalty for early withdrawal. We've got the Mexicans looking for donations, and he shows Naven the basically kind of the underground kind of Mondo film, cat juggling. And I just want to warn you, because this is without question, I think, the best joke of the film. Naven's character, Steve Martin, is going to say nigger. You have been warned. Let's roll the clip.
Keep the eggplants out.
Ah, good. We don't want any vegetables.
No, the jungle bunnies.
Oh, of course. They'll eat the vegetables.
Boss, can I talk to him? We're gonna keep out the niggers.
The what?
The niggers, we'll keep them out. Yeah.
Sir? You are talking to a nigger!
And then I guess the scene in the French restaurant, and he goes, none of this old wine, give us some of that fresh wine. And of course, the snails on the dinner plate. And we've got Marie with her useless lessons, knife throwing, and there's Naven with the basically the wine in like the cooler and those little wine glasses, just dispensing wine glasses. Terrific. And again with the umbrella. So Naven is living the dream, jerking it up, having a blast in his own disco. So Marie tells everyone to turn the music off. Hey everyone, Naven's on television. He did an interview, kind of the flavor of the month, brand new multi-millionaire inventor, right? And just as the interview is about to start, they cut in and say there have been new developments in the Naven Johnson OptiGrab sensation. It turns out the director himself, Carl Reiner, who actually directed The Jerk, so he's playing himself, is filing a class action lawsuit on the inventor of OptiGrab because he says the OptiGrab makes you cockeyed. Your eyes are drawn to that little bar in the middle like a magnet. He goes on to say that his lack of depth perception, he failed to call cut in time, and this created a car crash and killed some actors. So right away this dampens the party and everybody decides to leave, and the few take off their glasses. They're all cross-eyed. So as quickly as the party started, the party is over for Naven, and Marie has a pretty good line here too. She says she's not going to miss the money, she's going to miss the stuff. But Naven, he's full of confidence. He says, no, don't worry. I'm Naven Johnson. And, this is America, and I'll receive a fair trial. And instantly they cut to the juror who fines for the plaintiff $10 million. And Naven basically pulls out a drink from his briefcase after he hears the verdict. It's got the little umbrella in it. Oh, so it looks like Naven, climbing out from basically almost the gutter to be massively successful. And he's writing checks to each and every person for $1.09. And meanwhile, you see the movers are basically taking all the furniture away. He's lost everything. Oh, and he's drinking as well. So you could say, easy come, easy go. Or if you like, the Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. So Marie is taking it pretty hard. She's crying, and she feels like she's hit rock bottom. But Naven, he's an optimist. He's like, no way, I haven't hit rock bottom. I'm going to bounce back. And a great line, too, he says, I'm going to buy you a diamond ring so big it's going to make you puke. And Marie, very complimentary to Naven, she says, but I don't want to puke. So they both talk about, the way they were, and I need a girl who believes in me, and what happened, we changed. And basically, Naven says, well, I'm gonna go. He says, I don't need all this stuff. This stuff doesn't make me happy. He goes, oh, but I need this. And and then he grabs a few items. And this is actually pretty, again, iconic little scene if you haven't seen the movie. Basically, he grabs the chair, the lighter, an ashtray, a lamp. He goes, and that's all I need. And again, his pants he's probably drunk. His pants are at his ankles. And he starts walking out the door. And as he goes outside, he's just leaving, right? There's Shithead. And the Shithead is walking towards him on the path. And then actually kind of goes onto the grass and starts growling at him. Oh, terrific. And so, yeah, there he is. There's Naven, basically total jerk. He was an arrogant jerk, but oh God, love him. And so Naven seems to make his way to kind of some office buildings, and he sits on a park bench. He notices a bag lady. I guess nobody says bag lady anymore. They just say homeless. But again, you don't see a lot of homeless women, right? And she's got a thermos. And right away, Naven goes after her, basically trades all his gear for the thermos, and he's kind of cradling the thermos, hugging the thermos. And so we're back to the beginning. And Naven says, whoever he's talking to, he says, well, that's my story. It's an old story, familiar story. And basically, he's resigned to just being like a total bum. But then he hears a voice, and the voice asks, has any of you guys seen Naven Johnson? And Naven's eyes light up. He's like, yeah, I was just telling these guys. And it turns out to be Taj and the whole family. The whole family has come looking for Naven, and they found him. Hugs and kisses all around, but not for Taj. And there's Marie. And Marie explains that she contacted his family the day he left. And David, great line here too. Again, he says, how did you find me? And the dad says, I don't know. This is the first place we looked. And we learn that the dad is a bit of a stock market genius, took all the money Naven had sent him and made a small little fortune. And Naven says he has a thermos for Marie. And Marie is, well, she's happy. And she'd give Naven a kiss. She doesn't mind the dirt, but the smell, woo, she says. So they put Naven, a lot of I love yous, of course, and she puts Naven in the back seat with Shithead. So as Naven narrates, he explains that they, with a little bit of the extra money that has come in, they've torn down the old house, the old family house that everyone loved, but they built a new one, and there it is. Oh, it's perfect. Perfect. And the movie ends with Pick of Bela Khan again. Everybody sitting around, singing the blues. But this time, Naven, he's got rhythm. Oh, yeah, he has grown. He has learned. He's found some soul, and he's found his soul. Oh, terrific. The Jerk is just fantastic. Like I said, right up there. One of my all-time favorite movies. It's kind of iconic, too. The archetypes, etc. Well, the story, really. Let's not overdo it. But it is pretty terrific, and yeah, fantastic. Let's just hear just a little bit of the real Lead Belly. 10 out of 10, of course.
Oh, Lord, I can think of being a cut. Oh, Lord, I can think of being a day. Oh, Lord, I can think of being a cut. Oh, Lord, I can think of being a day. Oh, me and my wife can't think of being a cut. Me and my wife can't think of being a day. Me and my wife can't think of being a cut. Me and my wife can't think of being a day. Oh, Lord, I can think of being a cut. Oh, Lord, I can think of being a day. Oh, Lord, I can think of being a cut. Oh, Lord, I can think of being a day. Jump down, turn around, and think of being a cut. Got to jump down, turn around, and think of being a day. Jump down, turn around, and think of being a cut. You got to jump down, turn around, and think of being a day.